Right. I really fucking enjoyed today, I must admit. I spent the majority of my workout on the broad seated box jumps or seated broad box jumps from seated position as far as you can. I was supposed to actually do them onto a box. I spoke to my coach about it. However, I didn't feel comfortable jumping from box at a distance onto box. Every single time I tried it, I felt like if I exerted max effort, I would get onto the box and I would have no balance. I'd feel like I was going to fall off. And the key thing in the exercise that my coach emphasized to me was max effort. That was the most important part. And I felt like the only time in which I could jump onto the box safely was if I wasn't exerting max effort. A solution to that for next time that he kind of pointed out to me is that we'll inch the box away incrementally each rep, so that you can reach max effort whilst feeling safe. So I'm gonna give that a go next time. I personally am a little bit apprehensive just because of how I felt. Like I just didn't feel like I could full send it, to be quite frank. It just didn't feel, it felt like I wanted to jump over the box rather than onto it. I felt like it would have been safer. But like he alluded to too, it was mainly for a target. And as you'll see in the clips, I'm lucky to have a track in the gym, and that track has like little markers. I don't actually know the distance between the markers, and I should check that just out of curiosity. However, I was looking to reach the third marker. I was looking to clear the third marker from where I was seated. And funnily enough, the first time I cleared it was on my 8th set. I was only supposed to do 7 sets. However, I felt like after doing my top set of 188 kilos on the trap bar deadlift for 5, I felt like I wanted to end with the jumps because I was really enjoying the jumps, if I'm being completely honest. So I ended with the jumps, and the first 2 reps, I cleared it. I finally cleared it, which felt good. But interestingly, these plyos are something that now that I've got a better understanding of the difference between like a true plyometric, like a reactive plyometric, and just an explosive plyometric, it makes sense to me as to why you can just kind of do these over and over again. Like I remember my coach saying that the seated box jump, I'm not so 100% sure about the seated broad jump. It did feel like there is a little bit more impact on the seated broad jump relative to the seated box jump. But he emphasized how, bro, like you could do that seated box jump 40, 50 times if you wanted to, and you wouldn't cook your joints, simply because it's an explosive plyo. It's kind of the way in which I kind of perceive it now, it's half a plyo, right? It's the plyometric phase only, it's the explosive phase only. And the way in which I understood it and understand it, and I'm sure he'll correct me if I'm wrong, in the simplest way possible, is that it's the concentric phase only. There's no eccentric like there is with a deficit jump, or with a deficit jump or a deficit push up. There we go, lost it for a minute. So yeah, when you are only using the concentric phase, when you're doing a strictly explosive plyo push-up, you are telling your mind to recruit your muscles. Your muscles turn on, they pull on your tendons pull on your bone, and it flies you into the air, and you jump, right? Or you press up. Whereas with a true plyometric, something that involves both the eccentric and concentric phase, you are not working from 0, you're working from -0, right? You're working from -50, -100. An explosive plyo only, using the concentric phase only, you're going from 0 to 100. You're relaxed, boom, you switch everything on. Whereas with a deficit, you are forcing your body to react, right? That's why we call them reactive plyos. So your body is making contact with the ground in the case of a deficit plyo push-up or a deficit jump. Your body's making contact with the ground. That contact actually hits our bone first, right? So our bone reacts to the impact of the ground, and then in order to slow us down, it puts a big strain on our tendons. Our tendons then tense up. Our muscles are then recruited in order to continue to slow us down, and then we go back to our tendons, something like that. I still don't understand it enough to explain it simply, as you can probably tell. However, I'm slowly, it makes sense to me in my head now. I completely get it for myself. I just don't understand it that well enough to just blah, 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 explain it off the rip. However, since developing my understanding of it, it makes sense to me how he's programmed it for me, to be completely honest. And it makes sense as to why I feel the way I feel depending on different days. You can feel the difference. Excuse me. You can feel the difference. The difference is actually quite huge between deficit jump days and just seated jump days. You wake up the next morning and your knees are a little bit more full, I would say. They don't feel bad, they don't feel stiff, but there's definitely a lot more synovial fluid build-up from the day before because you use them a lot more, right? You put a lot more strain on them, which is nice. It's got, pros and cons. But yeah, today it was just seated broad jumps. And I feel like, interestingly, there is, in some ways, the seated broad jumps, whilst you're not turning deceleration into acceleration on the landing, I do feel like the landings they give your knees quite a beating, which is probably why jumping onto the box is better, because there's less taxing on the joints. But yeah, this is an idea that, or not even, this is a concept, this is something that I'm still learning, this is something that I'm still trying to get my head around. So my ability to explain it very easily and simply just isn't quite there yet, unfortunately. But we'll get there. If nothing more, I understand it well enough to use it for myself and know why I'm using it, which is kind of good. What else did I get done today? The deadlifts. The trap bar deadlifts today. So this was the first time he's programmed me with the trap bar deadlifts with no pause, and I really enjoyed it. I felt like I was flying. I felt like I undercooked the top set, if I'm being completely honest. I should have hit over 200 for that triple. For the 5. Because whilst when I first lifted the 188, it felt quite heavy. When I finished, I could feel that I was undercooked. I could definitely feel that I was undercooked, which is, pros and cons to that, right? It just means that I can confidently go into the next time he programs it for me, knowing that, okay, cool, I'm taking 200 at the very least, and I know that I can take it. I know that I got it. I know there's nothing to worry about, kind of thing. However, it's kind of frustrating leaving something on the table, especially when it takes up so much of your time, because that beginning portion of the workout, it took ages because I was supersetting them, and in between the supersets, because of the intensity of the work, I was taking my 1.5 to 2 minute rest. On occasion I took 3, just to allow the pump to fade from my lower back. But yeah, we moved, and for the first time I finally did my leg curl eccentrics. For a long time now I've been doing like a donut. I haven't been looking at my my program properly, and I haven't been watching the videos as properly as I should have been, and I was doing a lot of leg extensions eccentrics rather than leg curl eccentrics, and I'm quite pissed at myself for that, if I'm being completely honest, because I really enjoyed them yesterday. They were really tough, they were brutal in a really nice way. And I feel like I've left a lot on the table now, having missed that for like the first 4 to 5 weeks. Yeah, I mean, it's yeah, that's frustrating, but we move, man. We move. Um, I think that is pretty much it. I feel like I could sit here and waffle for a while about nothing. Um, but yeah, if you made it this far, thank you very, very much. I appreciate you more than you can imagine, and I shall see you tomorrow.